Hi everybody, Dan Ullman, Matt Bernier, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Sunday, July the 30th, race number 12 at Monmouth. 3-year-olds, $1 million. It's the Grade 1 Haskell Invitational. At 1 1/8, we've got a field of 7. This is a fun race.
Fantastic race, really. You know, you can make a case for all 7 runners. Maybe some of them a little bit more strong than others, but really, top to bottom, there's not much else you could ask for. You've got the Derby and the Preakness winner running in the Jim Dandy. They're really the only ones, and then you also include Taproot. Outside of those 3, you got everybody else.
Got the house horse breaking from the rail, the #1 Irish War Cry. He is a New Jersey bred, and like many 3-year-olds this year, he's been a bit inconsistent. He was real bad in the Fountain of Youth. He was real good in the Wood Memorial, even though he had some things going his way. For the first 1 mile of the Kentucky Derby, he was real good. For the last quarter mile, he was real bad. And then he ran well in the Belmont again. I have no idea what we're getting other than a relatively short price.
I agree with all that. I mean, the only thing I would say is I assume, and I know it's dangerous to assume with a horse that's been as up and down, I assume they have said from jump that this was the goal. This is the house horse. This is the race that they all want to win. I would assume we're going to see his best. In many ways, I think he's the most likely winner. I don't know that he's necessarily the most trustworthy, though.
3 triple-digit Beyer speed figures in his career. It's more than the rest of the field combined,
yeah.
Which is very impressive. Plus, as we see from this Timeform U.S. pace projector, Irish War Cry figures to be sent from his inside post under Rajiv Mirage, and at Monmouth, a lot of worse places to be than down inside.
Yeah, I think you go on with it. You hope that Battle of Midway leaves you alone for a minute, because you got a couple of horses that should be sitting in the catbird seat.
We do see Battle of Midway, the #2, shipping in from California for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer, and this is a colt who, as a very lightly raced horse, you know, he had the Apollo Jinx going against him before the Kentucky Derby. He had no 2-year-old experience to speak of. Jerry Hollendorfer crammed a lot of racing into a short amount of time, and he responded with a 3rd-place effort of the Kentucky Derby. And I love what Hollendorfer did. He said, even though the horse ran 3rd in the Derby and would have been a contender in the Preakness of the Belmont, he said, I'm going to wait for the 2nd season.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's a situation where you know that you've got a horse that's light on seasoning, light on foundation. Let's not break him. Let's give him a little bit of time and work into himself. I don't know, Dan. I don't know what to make of him. I still don't know how good he actually is. That Derby was a very, very good effort, but as has been well documented, inside is kind of where you wanted to be. Not that he was really that far down there, but he was only about 2 paths off the rail. I don't know. I just kind of feel like, to me, he's an underlay just because I don't know how good he actually is, and I think people are going to gravitate toward him.
Still a little light on figs. His most recent start, the Grade 3 Affirmed, he was bet to 1-10 on paper. He should have been 1-10, and he won over B Squared, a horse that came back to run pretty well, when 3rd in the Los Al Derby with a 96 Beyer. That was the prep for this. You got the feeling all along that Hollendorfer's main goal after the Derby was the Haskell. Here's a positive formulator fact for King Jerry. Past 3 years, 3-year-old last out winners on dirt going 2nd off a 45-day or greater layoff, 46%, a 374 ROI. It's nice that he has a versatile running style.
Yeah, where he doesn't have to be married to going to the front, but I have to be honest, I don't know that I would want to find out if I'm betting this horse or if I'm the connections. I don't know that I want to let Irish War Cry get too far ahead, because I don't know that I can finish with the horses that have a little bit more coming from off the pace.
Chad Brown has 2 Keeneland graduates in here right next to each other. The 3 Timeline, undefeated from 4 lifetime starts, winner of the local prep race, the Pegasus, the 4 Practical Joke, multiple Grade 1 winner. Both of these horses come into this race sharp. Let's start with Timeline. The Pegasus, much like Battle of Midway's Affirmed, he was 1-10 Timeline in the Pegasus. He should have been on paper, and it was another good effort.
Yeah, the only thing that race was really, the question was 2 turns. Are we going to be able to find out what we've got? Chad sent him down there. He got a feel for the racetrack. 1 1/8, I don't think is going to be a problem for him. The concern or the question is, he is probably the most exposed as far as class. These are going to be the best horses he's ever faced in his life. He also happens to have the fastest Timeform U.S. ratings, not the fastest Beyers. But, I mean, look, he's the one to me. If anybody puts on a show, I think it's going to be him.
And as we saw from the Timeform U.S. pace projector, there's a good chance he's going to be sitting 3rd, right in behind Irish War Cry, right in behind Battle of Midway. That's a very good trip for a horse that's proven at 1 1/8, proven on a wet track. Yeah. He's run some fast races. I think a lot of folks believe that There are some concerns about this entire crop's quality, that maybe we needed a second-half 3-year-old, and I think a lot of people believe that this is the second-half 3-year-old. As for practical joke, his accomplishments speak for himself. He is one of the most naturally talented horses in the entire crop. Multiple Grade 1 stakes winner, game effort last time out in the Dwyer when he was shuffled back on the turn. Distance has always been sort of his bugaboo.
That's the only knock with this horse. Is just I don't think he wants to go this far. I agree with you 100%. I think he is arguably one of the top 2 or 3 most talented horses of the 3-year-olds thus far anyway. We'll see Timeline and anybody else that may show up. I just don't think he wants to go this far. I don't fault them for taking a shot. It's a $1 million race. And if all of a sudden he does get a 1.1 miles and he gets this Grade 1, he puts himself into the mix as far as 3-year-old is concerned, champion-wise.
Coming into the race with the best last Buyer speed figure, and it'll be a playable price at 4-1. We'll see if Chad can get this horse ready to win at a 1.1 miles. The number 5, McCracken, also has a tremendous amount of talent. He's just a little bit light on speed figures. He won the Matt win last time out, and I loved the effort from a visual standpoint. I couldn't wait for the Buyer to come back, and then I was underwhelmed.
That's the problem with this horse. You know, I picked him second in the Kentucky Derby, and for one reason or another, that didn't work. They come back in the Matt win. He's supposed to win. He was professional. He's always been professional. And like you say, he's just yet to run fast. And you've got to start now with 7 starts under his belt. You've got to start to at least wonder. I think he's still going to improve. The problem is, I don't know that he's going to improve 10 points. And heck, there's an outside scenario where it's going to take a 105 to win this race. I don't know that it will, but it's going to take at least 100, and he hasn't done that yet.
Even if he improves, who's to say some of these others won't improve? Horses that are already ahead of him from a speed figure scale. He is a likable horse. It would not be a surprise at all if McCracken wins. I'd be a little bit surprised if Hentz wins. Not to be rude, he's a multiple graded stakes winner who's banked a lot of money this year. He got a nice field, let's just say, to beat last time out in the Grade 3 Iowa Derby, and Monmouth's track just never really seems conducive to these one-run closers.
I guess if they line up on the front, he can take advantage because you know he's going to be coming from way off of it. I've never liked this horse. I suppose the Iowa Derby was nice to see that he still got some run in him, but I still just say take out the Iowa Derby against suspect competition, take out the Sunland Derby. What are you left with? A horse that can't win this race. But you know what? Maybe he's on the right way. Maybe he's trending up.
You got to respect anything Asmussen throws on the track. But to me, he's the kind of horse that beats these kind of horses when he gets everything in his favor. And I'm not sure he's going to get that razor-sharp, hot pace. Let's take a look at our selections for this year's Grade 1 Haskell Invitational. Let's talk about Gervin. Because earlier this year, we weren't big fans of Gervin, but I understand exactly why you were won over by his Ohio Derby.
I still don't know if I'm making a mistake or not, because I didn't love him early on as a 3-year-old. The Derby, there were so many things that went wrong leading up to the Derby. He had the quarter crack issues, the wet track, X, Y, and Z. He missed training. I'm not going to hold that against him. He comes back in the Ohio Derby, and I know he didn't win. But going into the far turn, there was a 3-horse entry for Luch Stables, and 2 of them attacked him on both sides, and he put both of them away, and he just got a little tired at the end, and IRAP came and beat him. Now, at the time, I didn't love it because I said, I don't really like IRAP either. Well, guess what? IRAP came back in the Indiana Derby, and he looked the most professional that we've ever seen him, and all of a sudden, he looks like he could be an interesting sort of longer shot as far as the Travers is concerned. I think this horse is interesting because for as much as we knocked him down in Louisiana, all this horse did was show up and run, and run well, and now he was much more professional last time. He's second off the bench. I think he should work out a good trip. I'd like to think that he's going to be right there with Timeline. If that's the case, Timeline, maybe he's class compromised. Maybe the speed, you know, they take each other out. I just know also he's going to be a good price.
A lot of folks were comparing him to a 3-year-old gun runner when he was doing his damage at Louisiana, simply because of consistency, simply because in every race they changed back to their left lead late. Unfortunately, it didn't work out from a physical standpoint going into the Kentucky Derby. But in the Ohio Derby, I agree with everything you said. He was all in a half mile to go. He was under siege from several horses. He put away everybody, and it took IRAP, all of IRAP, to beat this horse by a nose. And remember, he really didn't have a representative race. The Derby, he didn't get much fitness out of it. That was his first race really since April Fool's Day.
That's the biggest thing for me, too. You know, I understand he did run in the Derby. This is a horse that really, that was his first start in almost, what, 3 months? Again, I'm not suggesting he's the likeliest of winners, but I just look at, I have enough other questions of other runners in this race, and I know that he's going to get overlooked, and I have faith in Joe Sharp. I think this is an interesting one.
Best of all, the price is going to be right. You're going with Gervin. Give me numbers.
I'm going 7, 3, 1, and 4.
I'm going 3, 4, 1, and 7. I think Timeline is just going to be that second season 3-year-old, I should say. I love his tactical speed from the Timeform US Pace Projector. I think a trip is coming, and we know he can run fast.
I really believe if anyone puts on a show, it's it's going to be this horse, because really, you can't knock anything he's done so far.
Sensational edition of the Grade 1 $1 million Haskell Invitational. Big day of racing at Monmouth on Sunday. And if you're playing at home, you got to sign up to DRF Bets, because you'll get 10% win place takeout on 10 tracks all summer long, plus a $300 cash bonus. And it's easy. Learn more at drf.com/take10. Approximate post time for the $1 million Haskell. Race number 12 on the Jersey Shore on Sunday, 5:47 Eastern. Best of luck.